Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me this afternoon for my latest COVID-19 update. With more than half of Massachusetts residents at least partially vaccinated, Governor Baker announced a multi-step plan Tuesday to phase out more COVID-19 restrictions and allow added businesses to reopen over the course of the next month, with an aim of eliminating all limits on businesses and gatherings by August. This plan is subject to public health data continuing to trend in a positive direction and people continuing to get vaccinated. At the present time, Massachusetts is number one in the nation for first vaccine doses and total doses administered per capita among states with more than 5 million people. The changes begin this Friday when the state's mask mandate will be eased to allow people to remove face coverings when they are outside in public and able to socially distance. Masks will still be required in indoor public spaces as well as crowded outdoor settings like large gatherings and events through the summer. Regarding Newburyport, I am as eager as anyone to ease the wearing of masks, but in areas of our city, we'll need to move forward safely. With more and more people becoming vaccinated and the travel season looking like a more realistic possibility, we can expect to see more visitors coming to Newburyport this summer. In particular, we know that the rail trail, our boardwalk, and downtown are and will continue to be crowded outdoor settings, and masks will be expected to be worn. If people are out and about and unable to physically distance, please continue to wear masks. I do not want to mandate any requirement on mask wearing, but this is something that we will need to monitor closely. Then, beginning in mid-May, the state will move forward to the second phase of Phase 4 in the state's reopening plan, allowing amusement parks, theme parks, and outdoor water parks to reopen at 50% capacity and with other safety protocols in place. Road races and other large outdoor athletic events will also be allowed to resume. However, these events will require approval by either the state's Department of Public Health or our local health department, depending on their size. Youth and adult amateur sports tournaments will be allowed, such as baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and soccer. Other plans include indoor singing with strict distancing requirements at performance venues, restaurants, event venues, and other businesses. A second round of changes comes at the end of May. Street festivals and parades will also be allowed to resume at 50% of their previous capacities. So yes, we will see Yankee Homecoming return this year and other signature events in our city. But stay tuned, as all involved will need to work closely on health and safety protocols with approved safety plans. The state will also ease limits on all gatherings, both public and private, on May 29th, allowing up to 200 people indoors and 250 people outdoors. This is a significant change for private gatherings, which are currently limited to 10 people indoors and 25 people outdoors. Wineries, breweries, and bars that don't serve food can also reopen, and all restaurants will no longer be required to serve food with alcohol. However, customers will still be required to be seated. In other words, no standing around the bar. Table limits will be eased from a maximum of 6 people to 10 people, and though 90-minute limits and distancing requirements will remain unchanged. The final step in the plan, pending positive trends in health data and vaccination completions, on August 1st, all remaining closed settings, such as dance clubs, nightclubs, saunas, hot tubs, steam rooms, indoor water parks, and all industries will reopen at 100% capacity, with businesses encouraged to continue following best practices. Statewide gathering limits will also be rescinded. But as we look ahead to better days, we must remember that COVID-19 pandemic is not over. Despite our best efforts in Newburyport, we unfortunately have lost 40 people to this insidious virus and to date have had over 1,200 cases. Luckily, the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines have arrived, and 63% of our residents have received at least one dose of the vaccination, and 44% are fully vaccinated. Over 95% of our senior population, age 65 or over, have received at least one dose, and over 80% are fully vaccinated. However, reopening our economy does not remove our collective responsibility to remain vigilant. However, despite some very dark days over the last year for our community and local economy, there's a clear sense of optimism taking hold that should motivate all of us. We currently have the Lower Merrimack Valley Regional Vaccination Collaborative being held at Amesbury High School. Over time, the clinic has grown to include all phases of the vaccination plan, and our team has increased operations to include all people who are eligible. On May 8th, the regional clinic will be moved to Newburyport at the Knockmollen Middle School, and we plan to hold vaccination clinics on the weekends. Our boards of health, the Newburyport and Amesbury Fire Departments, and other facilities personnel are working on this transition. Additionally, the Beth Israel Lahey Clinic will continue at the Senior Community Center as well through the end of May. We are now in the midst of our busy budgeting season for the city. My staff and I have been working on the department operating budgets for fiscal year 2022 since the beginning of the calendar year. We are also holding budget workshop sessions with all of the city councilors. The final budget will be submitted at the City Council's May 10th meeting. Additionally, the school department budget was presented this past Monday and will be voted on next Monday, May 3rd. Our schools fully reopened this week following April school vacation, and I want to follow up from my update last week advising of the cluster of COVID-19 cases among our high school students. Another stark reminder that this virus is still with us. Unfortunately, a total of 20 COVID-19 cases were identified, but with an additional 2 days of remote learning, plus the vacation week, it provided a natural break and time for families and students to safely quarantine. It is important to note that these infections did not take place within the school building. The cases were identified through the district's pooled testing program. Some of the cases were from multiple scenarios: workplace affiliation, family member spread, social gatherings, and outside activities and recreation. The good news is that we have not had in-school spread of the virus because of our protocols, procedures, and safety measures that are in place. For those who may still be seeking emergency rental assistance, the Department of Housing and Community Development has launched the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, a new funding mechanism to disperse state and federal funding resources for tenants and landlords to avoid evictions and help maintain household stability throughout the COVID-19 emergencies. Renters and landlords may receive up to 12 months of assistance for past due rent, plus up to 3 months for future rent. For assistance, please call 211 or go to their website directly at www.mass.gov/guidelines facing eviction. We can help. Along with benefits, tenants and landlords may be able to access free legal and mediation services. More information is available at evictionlegalhelp.org. At this time, I would also like to thank outgoing President Frank Cousins on his tenure leading the Greater Newburyport Chamber of Commerce and our business community through very tough and uncertain times during this pandemic. Frank and I have worked very closely over the last year to help support our local businesses and aid in their recovery. Thank you, Frank, and we look forward to working with the Chamber's new president, Katie O'Connor-Ives. Lastly, the newly announced guidelines are a first step and helping fully vaccinated people resume activities they had stopped because of the pandemic. Specifically, the guidelines detail activities that vaccinated people can safely resume, including a variety of situations that allow us to forgo wearing a mask. For those who haven't gotten their vaccine because you're younger or think you don't need it, this is another reason to go and get vaccinated. We've made so much progress on the pandemic because of all of us. Let's keep moving forward. Thank you and enjoy your weekend.